Okay, so for those of you who have been asking me how much I made in Torque over a year, I've actually done some math. So I've gone in and did some backtracking of the account that I made in 2019, and I've come to the conclusion that I made a 48% profit on my main account. And this is just one account that I have. Don't forget that I have many other accounts, and this was a strategy that I employed when I first joined. And you can see here that I made about 7,775 Torque tokens, and the price of one Torque is $0.05 or 5 cents. So if you multiply that is about $388 profit after a year. And this is, of course, you'll notice later that I only compounded it 8 times in a year. I wasn't actually compounding it every month, which I should have been. So this platform, it's better if you actually compound it every day, or more frequently than what I did, because you know how compounding works, right? Your compound interest gets added to your principal amount that you invested, and then the interest rate applies to the newer and larger principal, and that's what it is. It's just interest on top of interest, which over time leads to exponential growth. So compounding can work to your advantage as your investments in Torque grow over time. So I did some backtracking, or essentially what was an audit of my own account, and I went into the transaction records. I pulled out everything, and which exactly was a deposit and which exactly was a reallocation. So I pulled out all these transactions, and I'm going to take you through every single one of them. Okay, so the first thing that I want to mention is this is just based on one account that I have. Okay, so it's my main Torque account that I made in 2019, and there has been a profit of 7,775 Torque tokens, and the price of one token is $0.05 or 5 cents, and that brings me to a $388 profit. Okay, and I will go through the transactions with you. Okay, so this is a screenshot that I've just made. You can see it's Christmas already, and these numbers will make sense to you in a bit. Okay, so what I did was I went in to the transaction records and pulled out everything. So I pulled out all the transactions from the very first deposit. Okay, so I'm essentially doing an audit of my own account, and I went in, and you see all these in yellow. These were deposits. The ones in gray, they're reallocations. Okay, so here is a little bit more clearer. You can see the deposits. There were a total of 7 deposits in different currencies from the very first one, or from the very first day that I created the account. Okay, so the very first deposit was a USDT deposit, and I never actually put in any money until the 9th of January. And I remember at the time, someone owed me like a fee for an engagement. So I asked him to transfer the USDT that he owed me to this wallet address. And that is why I have 342 USDT here in the first transaction. The second and third deposits, if you're familiar with USDT, don't actually make sense because it's point something of a USDT. It's here. And if you're familiar with USDT, you'll know that there's a transfer fee for USDT, and it's $5. So for me to have a point something of a USDT that's less than $1 don't actually make sense because I lose out on the transaction fees. Don't know why it's here, but it's there anyway, so I'm just going to include it and add it to my notes. It's still a mystery. The fourth deposit was Ether, so Ethereum, at a price of $235 at a point in time on the 11th of February. This was the fourth transaction. I must have transferred everything from my Coinbase and I made it in 2017, just sitting there doing nothing. And I transferred 0.23 of Ethereum into the Torque wallet, and it was worth $54. The fifth transaction, you can see here, it was made on the 5th of March. This was a Bitcoin transaction. And I transferred 0.019 of a Bitcoin. And the adjusted close on the price of Bitcoin on the day was $9,078. So I transferred in 0.019 of a Bitcoin, and that was worth $172. The sixth transaction was a Litecoin transaction. Price on that day was $63 per Litecoin. I transferred in 0.78 of a Litecoin, that was worth $49. And the seventh and last transaction was a Bitcoin transaction as well, 0.03 of a Bitcoin. And the price of Bitcoin on that day was $6,191 or $185 for 0.03 of Bitcoin. Okay, so in total, I put in 4 different currencies. It was a total of $803 that was deposited into the Torque main wallet in 4 different currencies. Everything is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the price charts are from Yahoo Finance. And at the end of the day, okay, so this was how much I put in, 803. If you take the amount or the balance that I have in the Torque wallet today, which is $1,190, if I minus it from the deposit, the 7 deposits that I made in 3 months, and the last one must have just been like before the COVID pandemic became like super serious and widespread, there was a $387 profit, just compounding 8 times in a year. So I only allocated my profits 8 times in a year. Obviously, if you did it a little bit more frequently than I did, every day or at least once a month, then your earnings will be a lot higher, because that's how compounding works. So this is the torquebot wallet, guys. Don't be sleeping on it now. Super passive income for regular people who just want to park their crypto somewhere and put it to work as well. Getting higher interest than a bank time deposit for sure. Daily rewards every single day. No lock-in period and instant liquidity. So that's it for the video today, guys. I'll see you in the next one.